talked about the market and what people can do and how you work with clients. And, you know, and I'm sure you're very, very busy right now. But also there's some big changes because our economy is opening back up again, slow but sure. And I just want to touch base real quick and find out, you know, what's happening, what's going on.
Okay, so I'm Will Herring from All Western Mortgage. And in my world, we are busy. There's refinance people coming out of the woodworks. There's people that were thinking about buying and heard that the interest rates might get lower. So those folks are jumping off the fence and they're starting to put properties under contract.
Oh, great.
The lower rate means that a person could buy a bigger house or have a little lower payment on the house, the size house that they were going to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we've been locking a lot of our transactions in the twos, between 2.6 and 2.9, believe it or not. It depends on the down payment and the credit score, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody with a FHA loan with even a 640 or a 660 credit score, we can lock them in the twos on an FHA.
Wow.
On a conventional, with somebody with a credit score that low, they might have to lock around mid threes or, you know, middle to low threes. So everybody's going to have a different interest rate depending on their situation. 5% down is a higher risk than 10% down. And we can get folks into a house with as little as 3% or zero if they want to use down payment assistance, of course.
Right. But
in my world, we have probably 60% of our files right now are refinances and the other 40% are purchases.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have 25 clients running around with a lender letter, waving it over their head.
Uh-huh.
And if they're looking for a house under 450, even today in COVID-19 world, they're seeing multiple offers on that house. Mm-hmm. And they're still having to compete for that property or for that property to go under contract.
Yes, that is what's happening with, yes, they're moving fast.
They
and
are.
Especially, you know, between 350 and 400,000, that price point is just, it's really good.
That's right.
For the first time home buyers, it's really hard, you know, and challenging, and but still there's movement, which is good.
Yes, ma'am. It's still going to be a little bit of a seller's market for a while.
Yes. Well, and it's just good to move our money, you know, in the economy. It keeps businesses alive well as those start to shape up or do whatever is happening, right? So that's good to hear that people that were on the fence are deciding to make the move. And the only way you're going to really know is to reach out to you, of course. Because I can only say, well, I know this. I know the interest rates are really great, but you need to talk to Will.
Right.
Because I'm not the lender. I'm the realtor.
So. I typically meet with my clients as early as possible in the process. So I've met with clients a year or two, or even my record is 5 years before they actually bought the house. And on those really long-term ones, I'll meet with them several times. Now that we're doing more Zoom meetings instead of in-person meetings, which I'm still up for in-person meeting. But now that we're doing Zoom meetings more often, I've got clients that have multiple Zoom meetings with me to re-clarify the math with them or to chat about specific properties. We'll plug in 123 Main Street. And then the next Zoom meeting, we plug in, 345 First Street. Oh, and we show them the payment on that house with the program that they choose and the interest rate that's going on that day so that they know exactly what their payment's going to be. I mean, we're going to be within, a couple of dollars of their payment, even this early in the process. So that's exciting for the folks. That
is exciting. And then it makes it easier for them when they go to sit down to make the offer. They've made the offer, and, especially for first-time home buyers, there's so much to learn.
Right.
There's so much, it's a thicket to get through, so to speak. I mean, in the lending. And so when you're educated like you do with your folks, it just makes that part a lot easier. I mean,
I had
regardless
a client that I met with last May, and they're under contract on a house this June. So a year and a month since I met with them. I mean, I've forgotten all about them. And they called me up, hey, Will, we're off of the fence. So they
Ready to
started
go.
putting in offers about a month ago, and they finally got a place under contract, probably the third or fourth offer, I think, that they went under contract finally.
That's wonderful. I think that's really exciting. I mean, I think, during this time, it's hard to find some hopeful, we have to look for hope and positive and be grateful. And it's really nice to know that there's still some things that people are getting excited about.
Right.
And, because it's really wonderful to get a new house, or
That's
get
right.
your first house, or get rid of a
That's
house
right.
because you're sick of it, or whatever the deal is, right? And move out of state, or whatever the situation is. What do you feel? Where do you think we're going to be at, like this fall, September, October?
Good question. The Federal Reserve has stated that they're going to leave interest rates low for at least another year. And the board of the Federal Reserve, when they meet, usually you'll have 2 or 3 people that vote no, and the rest of them vote yes, and then that's how their vote always turns out. The vote to keep the interest rates low for the next year was unanimous.
Oh,
Unanimous. We hardly ever see a unanimous vote on anything from the Federal Reserve. This means that our mortgage interest rates could be in the low 3s or the high 2s for a long time to come. And I believe that people that are paying a higher interest rate than 3 3/4 have a great opportunity to refinance their home, or those folks that were only on the fence because the house payments seemed to be too high. If we can lock those folks in the 2s, then they might be able to, afford their first home. And even the down payment assistance loans, I have one lady, she's a manager at a Wendy's. And Wendy's is doing okay for COVID-19. They still have the drive-through open. She's still making all the money that she's always made. And she didn't have enough income on her own to buy her home, but she's living with her brother, and the both of them had an apartment. So she says, hey, brother, come down. Let's meet up with Will. Let's see if we can buy the house together. And sure enough, they're now under contract. We're doing a down payment assistance loan. They're coming in because the agent, the real estate agent, got them some closing costs from the seller. And then we're providing the down payment assistance funds. They're coming into the closing table with less than $1,000 to buy their first house. So it's really heartwarming to see people. I'm always often thinking maybe that's why I was put on this earth, to help folks get their home, their first home, maybe their next home. But somewhere, somebody, I know I'm helping these people, and it really is heartwarming to know that that somebody can move into a house for less than it would have cost them to rent another property. Because with the first and last month rent and security deposits and whatever else you got to come up with, got to be more than $1,000 bucks.
Yes.
So that's really kind of cool.
That is cool. That's the part that I like about it. And plus all the assistance that's out there now to help people figure it out. And that's what's so great about working with you. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to, let's do an update and find out what's going on in these new times of 2020.
Right.
And, there's a lot of hope, and we can keep moving forward and do what we love to do, and provide a house, a home, provide a home for somebody, because that is really one of the most important things that we can do.
I wanted to show a little data, because I'm a data guy, and we did this last time. Wanted to kind of get everybody up to speed on what is going on as far as the rates are concerned.
Okay.
I'm going to start right here. When did we do our last interview, Shannon?
I think it was at the end of April, beginning of May.
Okay. So May 6th was before COVID-19 affected my world in the market. And May 6th is this date right here. And all these giant wild swings that we had right here were caused from COVID-19.
Oh, from March 6th, you mean, right? Or
sorry, March 6th.
That's okay.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Thank you. The giant swings here were from COVID-19, and from this point, about April 15th to today, which is way over here on the chart, our market has stabilized because the Federal Reserve is buying mortgage-backed securities from my world, from the market, of about $5 billion a day. They're buying these securities just to stabilize the housing market. And
Wow.
what this means is that they want the housing market, the Federal Reserve, the government, the banks, everybody involved want the housing market to do well because our economy is really affected when housing is affected.
Yes.
So the stabilization from April 15th to today, I mean, there's some swings in there, but they're pretty shallow swings.
Oh,
So if this interest rate level can keep here for the next year, I think everybody that I've ever done a home loan for will be calling me for a refinance. And everybody that's thinking about buying a home should be able to buy within the next year. Meet with me now. I don't need any of your personal information. We'll make sure that you understand what your rate would be, what your payment will be. We'll go through the historical averages of appreciation to make sure you understand what the value of owning your own home is. There's more than just you get to paint the house whatever color you want, and there's more than just you can do improvements and plant flowers.
Right.
There's also building wealth. Over the last 45 years, Colorado real estate is over 5% every year, and that's including 6 recessions we've had in all that time span. And if we end up within a recession now, because of COVID-19, this is the best time to buy. I believe, and this is maybe a prediction, but I believe that we're going to have some bargains out there. If unemployment rates stay above 10%, there's going to be some sales out there.
Yes.
And Colorado real estate has some equity built up in it. So the people are not going to want their house to go back to the bank when they can get a check for selling their home.
Right.
So those folks will consider selling their home rather than losing their home.
Right.
And they're going to fire sale it because they can't afford to make 3 or 4 more payments or whatever it's going to be. And you're going to do those folks a favor by buying their home from them so that they don't go into foreclosure. And that's really the truth. Those bargains are buying low, selling high. That's what everybody says. That's the first thing they teach you in investing anywhere is buy low, sell high.
Yes. That's right. Yes, that's good. I'm excited. I'm encouraged for that. It helps me communicate with my clients about, this is where we're going. And because it's moving so fast, to be patient, the right place will show up. I always believe if you get squeezed out because there were so many offers, then that wasn't the right house for you.
That's right.
The right house will show up in the right timing.
And if it's not the right place for you, Shannon will help you buy the right place on the next home.
That's right. And even if it happens within a year or 2 from now, you go from one to the next.
That's right.
Build a little equity.
My very first house, I was in and out in 25 months. And only because they were going to build a school next door to my house. I bought the house, fixed it up, sold it in 25 months, only because they're going to build a school. And I actually made money on that place. So it was way better than renting. If I would have rented, I would have made $0.
Yes, right. So I just think we're obviously excited about what we do.
I'm passionate.
Yes, and we're very passionate about helping people. And as always, thank you, Will, so much for taking the time to meet with me today. Until next time for another update, stay tuned, folks. Take care.